They say if they don't believe that you can lead them, right, then they'll never follow you, right? So providing that example and all that ties back in, like I said, to the therapy and me being able to be in a place where I could be vulnerable with myself and be vulnerable with others.
Hello, my name is Kevin Long, and welcome to Long Stories, Short Conversations, where we have brief conversations with broad topics. And today our guest is a very good friend of mine. He is a father, a personal trainer, health and fitness enthusiast. He's a mentor. He is an entrepreneur. He is a Renaissance man in the truest sense of the term. His name is Joey Supreme Green. Welcome him to the day. Joey, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, Pop? What's going on?
Good to see you, bro, man. I appreciate
it's always
you.
a pleasure.
Appreciate you being here, man. Thank you today. And we are just letting the people see what we do on a normal basis, day to day.
All right.
Let's start by introducing yourself. Just tell us who you are, where you were born, so on and so forth.
Well, my name, without the Supreme in the middle, is Joey Leon Green. I'm actually a junior, born and raised Compton, California, the mean streets of Compton, California, home to Kendrick Lamar. I feel a lot more comfortable saying I'm from Compton, California nowadays. I used to just tell people I was from Los Angeles. It was a lot easier. But from Compton, California, man, born to Sharon Bryant, my mother, my best friend, my everything. And obviously my father, he's a senior, wasn't really present, Joey Green Sr. So. Okay.
Tell us what it was like growing up in Compton.
Well, during the time that I was growing up in Compton, we'll say like, I guess mid 80s, early 90s, it was tough. To be perfectly frank with you, if you were not a part of a gang, you couldn't even really be outside at a certain time. So I guess by nature of hanging outside, I was semi-affiliated, but never really a part of a gang. And that was just the way it was. Today's Compton is a totally different Compton. So it's a lot more safe going home. Colors aren't as important. And you can actually hang outside for a while at a time where now children don't even really go outside. So it's really different.
Yeah. Man, here's what's interesting. You said that you grew up in a gang culture, but
Right.
you weren't affiliated with either gang in that area. What I know about you, though, is that you were academically gifted, athletically gifted as well. So can you kind of tell me about, how academics and athletics help you to kind of steer clear of, gang culture, and just talk me through, high school, graduation, so on and so forth?
Well, being academically inclined and heavily involved in sports, shout out to my mom for that. And I say that as a parent today, but to stay on track, it was a big aid because it kept me out of Compton. Nothing that I did not even for academics. I only went to school in Compton for maybe first and second grade. My grandmother, who used to take me to school, had a really bad car accident, and the result of that was like Parkinson's and a really bad arthritic condition where her physician suggested that she not drive. But my mother, undergraduate administrator, one of the top ones at the University of California, Los Angeles, in the electrical engineering department, worked on the opposite side of town, what we consider the west side of LA. So when I say my academia and athletics kept me out of Compton, that's exactly what it did. I did sports in Inglewood, and I went to school on the west side of LA at predominantly white schools.
Okay. So being a five-star athlete in high school led to some offers in college. So can you walk us past graduation and into the university or college that you matriculated to, and how that looked?
Well, for me, I think I was more focused on the nature of who I was at a younger age. I went to predominantly white schools. Growing up in Compton, the culture change, the amount of, I guess you could say, adaptability one would have to have. I had offers from schools like Seton Hall, and Seton Hall was high on my list of schools to go to, but then there were smaller colleges like Clark Atlanta, Morehouse, and there was a little small college in Augusta, Georgia, called Payne College that I ended up attending, which was a big surprise to a lot of people, where I would go on and play basketball there. And my goal initially was to go there and just be the man on the basketball team and excel and see what happened after that, possibly go across seas and do it professionally. But life changes. I guess that's not what the Lord had in store for me. I went through a lot of adversities during college, but I still managed to graduate, where I majored in business management and minored in sociology, the systematic study of human social interaction, which is really what I'm more passionate about, the interaction of people and how they come up, whether it be, nuclear households or single parent family households and so on and so forth.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of those life changes. I want to read something to you that I think might be familiar.
Okay.
I do not resent the calamities which have arrived or the disasters that may occur. For perhaps in these unpleasant instances, something which I do not like may be my salvation. And perhaps in something that I may prefer will be my doom. There's a blessing behind this all, one that a wise man such as myself will not ignore. For I have been given the opportunity to attain the reward of patience. You remember those words?
Absolutely.
Who wrote them?
I did.
Let's elaborate.
Oh man, I'm gonna get emotional here. So this was a result of bad decisions and poor relationships. That's what I say. Bad choices, but it's a part of my life's journey. During this time when I wrote this letter to my closest relative. The world knows him as Dom Kennedy, and I myself know him as Dominic Hunn. And I was incarcerated, where I would go on to do 5 years in federal prison. And I don't mind sharing what happened. I actually took some money from an armored truck. I was an unarmed man. And I took some money and I got away with it. But that's not what was in God's plan, right? I got away with it. I shared the money with an individual who was, I guess you can say, like a partner. And probably about 6 months later, I was picked up on charges for robbery of a commercial business and what would have been a whole conspiracy, but it was definitely a federal indictment. During this time, it was a very important time. Actually, I will tell you this. This was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. The best thing that ever happened to me. I was given opportunity to sit down with self and really figure out why I was there. But that was a choice, right? Because a lot of people go down this road and they don't return, right? Better, right? They just start making worse decisions or try to figure out ways to outsmart the law. And for me, it was a long-term moment of self-reflection. And during this time, I still hadn't got it yet, right? I was in a special housing unit. I was still making bad decisions while incarcerated. Because the tricky part about being incarcerated is like, you spend so much time waiting to be indicted. And then once you're indicted, this is the mind twist right here. This is how crazy this system is. You're excited to leave jail to go to prison because you're like, some freedom, like more freedom. It's really tricky. I was thinking about this. And then there's a jail inside the jail, right? The special housing unit, which is where I was when I was writing this letter. But I was ready for change when I wrote this letter. I was definitely ready for change. And that's why I said this was at a very pivotal time in life. And I did not know that this letter would be something that the world would get to hear.
Yeah.
I was on restrictions. I couldn't make any phone calls. But once I got out of the SHU, one of the first people that I called was my cousin. But before calling him, I called a good friend, and he said to me, man, what you put on that album was amazing. And I had no idea. And I would later find out that my cousin had felt like the world needed to hear the message that I had relayed to him. And it has since then been, pieces of it have been tattooed on individuals and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
It's pretty interesting.
I was going to ask you if you remember the picture that I asked you about with the person who had the letter from Joy Supreme tattooed on their arm. You shared with me that the most valuable lessons, or that the best thing that happened to you was prison.
Yes.
Share with us some of the most valuable lessons that you got from that.
I'll tell you, to patience was a huge one. You go from being a person who actually prides himself on being independent, doing everything for himself, and which is odd for a kid or a guy or a young man like myself who grew up in a single parent household. I was pretty spoiled.
Yeah.
I had it all. I will say that my mom worked incredibly hard to make sure that I was involved in sports, that I had a great education, and that I had as many Jordans as money could buy, right? I can't say that I was a kid who was deprived of these things and I grew up in Compton and life was hard. No, it wasn't. And if it was, my mom never showed me how difficult it was. But I think patience was the most important thing that I learned. I learned to be more aware and pay more attention and be more intentional in life, and not just move aimlessly, but to move with purpose. That was, these three lessons here were probably the hugest lessons that I took away from that. But more importantly, being comfortable with being who I am and knowing that my story is my story and I should never shy away from it.
Yeah. So you went from college graduate to federal inmate.
Right.
And then got that behind you.
Mm-hmm.
And in some way or another, that kind of parlayed into you being the personal trainer,
right,
fitness enthusiast, and all the other stuff that you are, which is remarkable. Talk to me a little bit about what a day in the gym with Joy Supreme Green looks like.
Man, I don't think many would want to be there. I'll tell you that. I am a pain freak, I would like to say. I like to put myself in extreme conditions because I know life isn't that tough when I do it that way. So when I'm in the gym, I'm the guy who I like to tell people I will die under the weight, meaning I push myself to my limits. If a rest is, if it's not time for me to return back to the weight, then I'm going back to the weight. I'm just always challenging myself. I feel like if I'm challenging myself, then any challenge that comes after that really isn't that challenging, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, and I like to do the same thing with my clients.
Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna parlay into my next question, because that's you as a fitness enthusiast,
right,
fitness and health enthusiast,
right,
for your personal life.
Uh-huh.
But what do you enjoy most about being a physical or a fitness instructor, should I say?
What I enjoy most about it is helping people reach their goals.
Yeah. Okay.
It's plain and simple. And I love that people, and I don't take it for granted, because people are putting their lives in my hands, essentially.
Yeah.
And getting, I guess, through people, either the referrals or people seeing the art and nature of my craft, the fact that people really do trust and believe in me is all the more motivating to help them reach their desired fitness goals. And not one client is the same, right? Some people want to lose weight. Some people want to build muscle. And some people are just training because they know in life they need to be physically fit, right? Just training, I guess, for life, right? Longevity, trying to add a couple of years on.
Yeah. Tay, is that my mic? I mean, is that my camera? Okay. Lies. What he enjoys most about being a personal trainer, a fitness instructor, is putting the preacher through such a regimen that at least 5 times during the session, the preacher, which would be me, is tempted to use words that preachers ought not use. All right, now back to our regular step.
Right, but let me ask you a question. How has that impacted your life?
Well, we'll talk about that a little later. But I'm traumatized. Traumatized in a good way, though. Traumatized in a good way.
Okay, there's good trauma.
It's good trauma. As a matter of fact, it's been one of the best things that has ever happened to me.
Okay.
Do you remember how we met?
I do. Dante.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. The group coming out.
Yeah.
And me receiving those individuals, which was a blessing. Shout out to Dante, man. The rap name De Niro Farrar.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dante Farrar, man, for providing me with the opportunity of what I would like to think was a warm up. Really like being in the layup line, preparing for the game. It's the best way I could explain it. I was blessed right before COVID, during COVID.
Right before COVID, yeah.
With a beautiful bunch of people who wanted to get in shape. And no better time, right, during COVID, where you're working from home, a lot more leniency on the work front. And I think I had like a group of 8 people would come out to my resident 2 times a week, and I would set up 8 different stations of death.
My point proven.
But everybody had a good time. People showed up, and this was really a big part of my physical fitness instructing journey, because I was always a part-time physical fitness instructor. I always shied away from training people, and this was a great way for me to go ahead and get into a routine.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's where we met.
So that's been close to 6 years ago, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Almost 6 years.
So when I say one of the best things that happened to me, and this is serious, one of the best things that ever happened is Dante introducing me to you.
Oh, man, that's a blessing. I appreciate that.
Because of the other things that you said in terms of what you like best about being a fitness instructor, how you really care for the fitness goals, the overall fitness goals of your clients. And I can tell you, man, you are an integral part of my life. And so I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
I really appreciate that. I want to go back to a theme that we left a minute ago, and that's this whole idea of prison being the best thing that could have happened to you. One of my favorite theologians is the Apostle Paul, and the Apostle Paul, he writes the majority of his letters from prison.
Mm-hmm.
And one of his taglines is always, I, Paul, a prisoner of Christ. He's writing in prison, and he's not saying he's a prisoner of the system.
Right.
He's saying that he's a prisoner of Christ. So he's actually free.
Right.
In prison.
That's right.
So my question to you is, when do you think that one is actually free? And what does that freedom look like to you?
That is a great question. If I can be fully transparent here, I will tell you that I feel that you are not free until you have reached a point of not really giving a you know what about what any and everybody have to say about you.
Wow.
I think being free is doing the right thing because you know it's right, and not really caring what others have to say about that.
Yeah.
If you're walking around really giving a care about how people judge you or how people see you or what they have to say about you, then you're placing an unnecessary pressure on yourself, and you're not living when you're moving at someone else's pace.
Wow. Do you think the beginning of your personal freedom was while you were incarcerated?
Oh, 110%. That was the start of that journey. I mean, let's be real. I am the only child. I had all the kicks. I always had the new stuff. I had a phenomenal education. I went to, different schools, owner of San Diego Padres, paying for my tuition when I went to college prep schools, made the newspapers. I graduated college, part of the AKD, which was an honor society amongst majors in my major. And then I went to prison.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I went to prison. And I smile about it now, but that's embarrassing,
Yeah.
right? Not just because I had to go through it, but I think about my mom who worked her tail off, right, to make sure that I had everything necessary, right? So me being greedy, not being patient, and trying to create my own narrative, not walking in a manner that was godly, I'll say, created exactly what I went through. But one thing that I say, and I think you've heard me say it before, through everything that I go through, to this date, is I always say, who but me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But who but me to go through the things that I've gone through? And the Lord knows, right, that I can wear it,
Yeah.
right? And that's why he places that on me, right? Yeah. And people like to say, I guess, like different taglines, like, they'll actually recite the verse, the Lord won't place more on you than you can bear, and here and there. But I just always say, who but me? Yeah. It helps me get through. It's a reminder that I am one of the people who can handle it.
Yeah.
And I, after figuring that out, it's just how to manage it, right? Yeah. So I spend more time trying to figure out how to manage that which I go through than I spend time trying to figure out why I'm going through what I'm going through.
Okay.
Which is a lot less time consuming, right?
Yeah.
Sitting around trying to figure out why is me, woe is me, or why me. I mean, the amount of responses that one would come with are probably endless.
Yeah.
Versus just saying, okay, it's on me. It's time for me to figure it out.
Yeah. Your story is encouraging. However, I know that there are other men, especially for the sake of this conversation, African American men, who make up the majority of the population in federal and state prisons, right?
For sure.
There are other men who've had to go through that as well. Some don't fare as well as you. Some don't have the stories of resilience, rebuilding, resurgence as you have. And I think that one of the key factors in being able to rebuild has to be some sort of therapeutic care, right?
110%.
So as you've talked about your story and your journey and all the things that you've learned, the freedom that you achieved while you were there, the knowledge that you attained, and just the sentiments that you've arrived at, how important do you think it is for men, in particular Black men, to have a therapist?
First, let me say this. Before I answer your question, thank you. to hear you speak these words about me is really, believe it or not, as confident as I am, it's hard to receive it because I'm just living my life. So thank you for those kind words, Kev. But therapy, for an African American male, it is important. And I'm not saying it's not for African American women, right? But I think there is so much pressure being a man in general that men don't speak about, right? You have to lead, you have to provide. These are expectations. This one's not as big, but you got to pay on the first date. And you have to, at the start of every day, you'll have to go out into society with this skin,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We've seen what that looks like in the media. But you also have the societal challenges where you can't express your feelings and emotions. And what happens in turn is a lot of us African American men being terrible communicators within the nature of our relationship, right? It's different when you're speaking with your homeboy or your friend, right?
Yeah.
Because you can speak freely, crack jokes, talk trash. But when you get into those discussions with maybe your spouse or your girlfriend, those uncomfortable conversations, it gets a bit difficult.
Yeah.
Because you're not used to communicating how you really feel.
Yeah.
And for a lot of us, and I say a lot of us because through the research and the self-research, right, is that a lot of us just are okay with a lot of things flowing because we are scared of the way we'll be viewed if we complain.
Wow.
If you haven't noticed, if you haven't gone through it yourself, trust and believe a friend of yours has been in a situation where he has allowed a lot of things to build up in the nature of his relationship with his partner. And then he has that day where he just lets it all out and says something like, well, I didn't say anything when you did this, and that's because, in society, when you complain as a man, it's frowned upon. You're looked at like a soft person, or, there's other harsher terms that they use
Right.
for men who are emotional men, right?
Yeah.
So I think that therapy is extremely important because it provides an atmosphere where you're not being judged,
Okay.
right? And you can just be you.
Yeah.
And the professional, really quick, if you're gonna get a therapist, get you a therapist that you can actually relate to. Okay, that looks like you. All right, that's important. For me, that was huge.
Yeah.
I couldn't get a Caucasian therapist because a Caucasian man or a Caucasian woman, and I love white people, okay, they don't know what it's like to be me.
Yeah.
When we wake up and we walk out into society, immediately there's a difference, right? When they drive by the police and I drive by the police, there's a difference, right? When they're walking in the store and they clutch their purse, or I walk in the store and clutch my bag, they think I stole something and they think they're afraid of something. This is just a difference. It's just the way it is. Back to therapy. The therapeutic aspect of it has changed my life. It's made me more vulnerable. Vulnerability, very important word. The most difficult part in the beginning of any relationship, right? The vulnerability part, allowing yourself, almost like taking a gamble, right? With your life, putting yourself into a phase of just allowance, right? Allowing whatever is said or done to just letting it go, right? One of the most difficult things, and that's another reason I really love being a physical fitness trainer, and I take it so seriously, is because these people are being vulnerable with me. They're allowing me to have a place in their life and a sense of control in their lives, and they're trusting me to lead them. They say if they don't believe that you can lead them, right, then they'll never follow you, right? So providing that example, and all that ties back in, like I said, to the therapy, and me being able to be in a place where I could be vulnerable with myself and be vulnerable with others, for sure.
Wow. So the question was really about therapy during and post penal
Oh,
incarceration. But what I've heard you describe, and I agree 100%, that there are many men, many people, but many men who've never spent a day or a night in jail
right,
or in a federal or state prison, but they're still incarcerated by whatever labels, whatever mantras, whatever insecurities they have.
right,
And so, therapy is needed just to
right,
help us break free
right. No,
from
for sure.
those prisons, right?
Well, one thing that Tupac said, right? And you know, rest in peace to Tupac, right? A poet. He said, they can trap my body, but they can't trap my mind, right? Speaking to Paul, right?
Yeah.
And you, it's just another place. That's really all it is, man.
Yeah.
It's another place. If you've really tapped in on your journey of spirituality, right? Then you know that it's just a place.
Yeah.
It's just another step for a stepper.
Yeah.
That's all it is, man. And you got to get through it.
Yeah.
When people ask, how did I do it? I said, well, I wasn't going to kill myself. I love myself too much.
Right.
Right. So yeah, it's just another step for a stepper, man. Having a therapy post prison was extremely important, but I think probably more important for a different caliber man. Because for me, I never let prison change me for the worse, as much as I just took note and was very intentional on my journey to seek out why I was there and what I was going to do when I left.
Yeah. You mentioned your spiritual constitution, right?
Mm-hmm.
How important is spirituality to you? Because I remember you saying to me at one point that you really don't worry about anything anymore. And it was in a conversation about our relationship with God, to
Mm-hmm.
God, and how our relationship, multifaceted as it is, finds a common ground in our spirituality. So how important is spirituality to you?
Huh. To say spirituality, more of the spirit and soul than material things, right? Spirituality. I believe the definition goes something like that. But spirituality is so important. And when you speak to me making the comment or making the statement that I don't really worry, I don't. I think that there's another saying, they say, if you're going to pray, don't worry, right? And if you're going to worry, don't pray. And a lot of people, they say they believe in God or whoever they believe in or a higher power. But do you really believe in the higher power if you're concerned about things that are outside of your control, right?
Yeah.
Because look, we can only control the things that we can control.
Yeah.
And if you're a believer, then that's just that, right?
Yeah.
There have been times where, I'll tell you now, I have been in a financial bind, not because I made poor financial decisions, just life.
Yeah.
I shared one of these moments with you. We were training, and I could have reached out. My cousin's a multimillionaire,
Yeah.
right? I could have reached out to my mom, but I felt for every upside, there's a downside, right? I've had times where the money was rolling in, and I didn't complain, right?
Right.
Still gave all praise to the Most High, right?
Yeah.
So you got to give praise to the Most High through the not so fortunate times as well,
Yeah.
right? So I never was concerned as much as I knew through my diligent efforts to be the individual that I am, to continue to give praise, right? To continue to pray and just move about, that it would be provided. And it's never failed me. It's never failed me.
You mentioned an interesting word, belief. And oftentimes in a spiritual context, belief can be represented and maybe even misrepresented as being passive and, just kind of waiting for things to happen. It's, the word is faith, right?
Right.
And so faith is not passive. Faith is very active. And I want to talk a little bit about how you reconcile this whole idea of believing in God, having faith in God, but still maintaining an impeccable work ethic. Because what I knew about you during that particular time you're talking about is, man, you were still putting in the work, right?
Right.
You just, you weren't resorting to asking others to help you meet that need.
Right.
You just trusted that if you kept putting in the work,
Right.
then things were going to turn out the way they were supposed to, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the way it's set up. That's the way it's set up. If you're being intentional in this life, man, if you're really paying attention, right, be still, right, is what they say, right?
Yeah.
If you're really paying attention, if you are really being intentional, one, the job has to be done, especially if it's your job, right? It has to be done. Keep doing the job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep doing the job. Stressing, worrying, that stuff doesn't add any value in this lifetime or the next one. It's not going to help you grow.
Yeah.
It's not going to help you achieve any goals. It's actually setting yourself further away from that which you're trying to achieve or attain.
Yeah.
And I like to think that anything that's not growing is dead.
Wow.
Right? If it's not adding value to you, it's taking something away.
Wow.
Right? So remaining intentional, you hear me say that a lot, and just staying on your path is the best way to be successful in this life. Right? Once again, all these things tie back into each other. When you are really free, right? Having a certain level of faith, right? When you say that, a lot of people say that to believe or to have faith, I mean, as described as something and believing in something that you cannot see or touch or feel, right?
Yeah.
It's really, to me, saying, do you believe in yourself?
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you believe in yourself and just seeing things through? The other day, I was showing you that video and I was laughing because that little situation I was talking about, seeing things through, right? And the example that I gave was for a woman or for a guy, if your barber, right, stopped in the middle of your haircut and left, right, and never came back, how would you feel?
Right.
Right? Or for a woman, if your beautician just stopped in the middle of your hairdo, right, and you had somewhere to go later on that day, right, and she never returned, right? That feeling, right, of what am I going to do, right? If you are the one who's in control of that, right, to put it on you to say, if you stopped on your journey or if you didn't finish what you set out to do, it's the exact same, right? It's disappointing, right? And you have to wear that, right? There's no one to blame, which is why I love playing golf, because there's nobody to pass the ball to out there. It's a self-reliant sport. But yeah, man, it's,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things.
Yeah. One of the things I've had confirmed by you, but even one of the things that has really helped me in my personal journey, my personal growth, is that you have this understanding that the spiritual, psycho-emotional, and physical are all interconnected, right?
Absolutely.
Like, it's not this whole idea that, my body can be healthy, but my mind and my spirit don't matter. And one of my the perks, I'll say, of being trained by you is that you pay attention to the total person, right? Again, I'm a preacher, I'm a pastor, been one for well over half my life. But the impact that you've had on me is that it really is mind over matter, but it's spirit over mind as well.
110%.
So that when in those moments when he's being brutal and disrespectful and not taking into account the fact that I pay him to train me and, he takes it to the next level, it pushes, it encourages me to know that I have an accountability partner who takes me back to my substratum of spirituality and faith. Like, all right, okay, your body is under extreme pressure. Now, don't let your body dictate to your mind what you're gonna do. And when your mind feels like tapping out, don't let your mind dictate to your spirit what you'll do. Right?
Right.
Work it in the way that helps you to be optimally healthy and effective, right?
Right.
Spirit over mind.
Right.
Mind over matter.
Right.
So I appreciate that about you, bro. And I can tell through our conversation thus far that you are a genuinely like happy person, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like you are
For sure.
This ain't no fluff.
Nah.
This is
you
you.
See these laugh lines? I didn't get these laugh lines.
Right.
Yes, for sure. I am definitely a happy person.
Real talk, man. And I appreciate your genuineness. And for the sake of this part of our discussion, your genuineness, your genuine happiness, your genuine joy. So speaking of that, what brings you the greatest joy and why?
Oh man, it's just easy. Making other people happy.
Wow.
Yeah. I was on this dating site.
Okay.
And I said, one of my goals in life really is just to have enough money to help other people out. Because the greatest joy for me is bringing other people joy.
Wow.
That's it. Straight to it.
That's admirable. I'm gonna tell you something you don't know about me. Because I hadn't shared it with you.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. That shit. What? This guy shares, shares a lot of stuff with me.
But here's what's interesting. So like every day, I go through these A to Z's of affluence. There's a book talks about living an affluent life, but the H is in order to have an affluent life, you have to be committed to helping other people be happy.
Yes.
Right? And so here's what's interesting about that. You have to be committed to making other people happy, but you can't make other people happy if you're not happy with and within yourself, right? So there's this whole false narrative of what people consider to be, self-denial, in that self-denial means I make someone else happy at the expense of my being unhappy, right? Tell me how you reconcile that, right? How that plays out in your life, how you make other people happy without losing yourself.
Understanding, I guess, for me, certain values, I guess.
Okay.
So for me, if I have it to give, I'm going to give it.
Okay.
And that doesn't always mean something material.
Right.
Right. I can't give it if I don't have it. Right.
Wow.
Every day is not the best day.
Okay.
Right. I'm human.
Yeah.
But I don't wear my emotions on my sleeve. And I'm giving these these points.
No, I get it.
Right. To say that it's a very natural situation to me, right? I'm not gonna always be the person who grabs the grocery cart from the person who's loading their groceries to take their cart back while I'm taking mine.
Yeah.
Because every day's not the same.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But when I have it to give, whether it be my energy or something monetary, I give it.
No strings attached.
No strings attached.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm never looking for something in return because, and this may be a cheat code, because the Lord has always provided for me,
Always.
and I know it's all due to my behaviors in the way that I am.
Yeah.
All right, people have wished bad on me and
Yeah.
hoped I didn't do certain things, and He just never let me down,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I say He, somebody else may say, you know,
Universe,
the
whatever.
universe,
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
you know, but for me, it's Him, right?
Yeah.
My homeboy,
Yeah.
right? He's always looking out for me. And I tell myself, maybe it's just because I tell myself, no, I'm not going to say it's because I'm a believer. I know when you do good, good comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah. It may not happen tomorrow. It may not happen next week or next month, but it's on the way. Help is always on the way. I'll just say that. Help is always on the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's always on the way. Whether you can see it or not, right? Which ties back into faith and your belief, right?
Yeah.
Whether you can, it's always on the way. You
Yeah.
just have to remain diligent in your efforts to be a good person.
Yeah.
You and I had a conversation about the difficulties in being a good person, right?
Yeah.
Being a good person, you just got to do it.
Yep.
You can't really, I mean, and I've been good to people who have been bad to me in my face.
Yeah.
You know this, right?
Yeah.
Personally, right? And you just got to smile.
Yeah.
Just smile and get it done,
Yeah.
right? Somebody may call on you for something, they need you, and they may not be there for you, right?
Yeah.
I'll just do it. If I could do it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I can
Absolutely.
testify to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can testify to it, man.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to get mine, right? Just by being intentional and understanding that I want for myself what I want for others. And if they can't see it, it's fine
Yeah.
because I know who does see it.
Yeah.
I know who is receiving it.
Yeah.
And He's going to keep my wallet full,
Yeah.
not just with the monetary things, right?
Yeah.
But He's going to keep my, I would like to say like my life wallet full.
That digital wallet.
Yeah, that digital wallet. Absolutely. Right. I just keep getting blessed. And I'm very fortunate to be one of the few people who really believe.
Yeah.
And I say few people because we know that there are a lot of people, saying that they believe, but they still worrying.
No. I can testify to the fact, man, that your faith and your belief are genuine, right? And that happy is your natural state.
Hey.
I believe that happy is our natural state.
Yes.
That if people are unhappy, it is an unnatural state.
For sure.
And what we have to do is we have to find out a way
Yeah.
to get back to that
It's
natural
tough,
state.
man. It's
Yeah.
tough. It takes a lot of energy to not be happy.
Yeah.
Right? It takes a lot of energy to dislike people and frown up your face when they walk by. It's an unnecessary energy. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
The Lord knew though. You know what my blood type is?
What's that?
Be positive. Check that out. That's crazy. I tell you no lie.
I love
Be positive. And it is me.
I
For
love
sure.
it. Well, earlier, man, you talked about how we first met, and we met in community.
Yeah. You got to see the gym coming together, what I
Yeah,
started and
I got to see
everything.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
But even before that, when we were in your driveway, as you said, it was eight people, a community of people,
Right.
that were brought together by your and Dante's relationship. And knowing your story, I know how important community is to you.
Very important.
You talked about moms.
Yes.
She's a sweetheart, man. You've talked about Dom, your cousin, and you talk a lot about the important role that community plays in your life, not just the fitness community, right?
Right.
But just people who've impacted your life over the years, who've helped you to rebuild, who've helped you to recover all that kind of stuff. Tell me this: who are the most influential individuals in your life currently?
Okay. So there's four.
Okay.
One of them, it's the only one I wish I had the opportunity to meet, right? The other three are actively a part of my life. I get to see them go through the things that they go through. I have experienced their lives. I can touch these people and I can feel these people. So I'll start with those people. In no particular order, my mother for sure. Without her, there is no me. And as a parent, I've seen what it's like, man. It's tough. Even when you have somebody helping out on a day-to-day basis, right? Coming from my previous marriage and raising children and, the day-to-day is tough, let alone doing it by yourself. And my mom did it by herself while keeping me active in sports. I played football. I played basketball. She's driving across town. My mom was even so active in the sports that I played that she coached. She was a team mom when I played football. She was an actual coach. My mom has coached like championships teams through the Inglewood YMCA. Shout out to the Inglewood YMCA.
Wow.
Yeah, and she played sports herself. She was very so, and I've got to see her, what I know now as an adult, just push through.
Yeah.
My mom wasn't a woman who wore her emotions on her sleeve. My mom was a woman who was getting that. She kept me straight. I'll say that. So my mother at the top, well, I guess at the top of that list for sure. I know I said in no particular order, but my mom is definitely one of the most influential people in my life. My cousin, Dom Kennedy, man, Dominic Hunn. Shout out to Dom, man. This is a young man who I watched. I mean, we're pretty much hip to hip since babies. I watched him tell his father, our rest in peace, my uncle Dennis, a great man, one of the first African American men to work for the Los Angeles Times. I watched him tell his father that college isn't for me. I want to be a rapper. And most parents would probably chuckle and say, no, you're going to school. But because of the way Dom was raised, his dad believed every word he said, and he invested in him. And here we are, 15 plus years later, multimillionaire, Rolls Royce driver. And the reason he is one of the most influential people in my life, though he is a year younger than me, is because I've seen it. He has been the epitome of hard work, diligence. I mean, this kid has been resilient. He has been everything that he said he was going to be. And he's still doing it till this day. I think maybe this year here may be one of his best years of his career. He shared that with me. We were just on tour recently. But man, Dominic Hunn is definitely had a huge impact on my life. Third, and I'm not saying this for the sake of us being here, but my circle is really small. Has had to be you, man. Just give me a second. I know a lot of your story. I see you, and when I say I see you, I mean like I really see you. You are a very intentional man. You have a huge heart, and you're very honest, and you got a good spirit about you. Um, you know I love you, right? But yeah, man, you have impacted me in ways that you don't know. I'm a very confident person, but you give me more confidence. You provide a safe place for me to communicate and share. You don't judge me. You've honestly, indirectly
been a therapist for me. And knowing the pressures, right? I can only imagine, right? I know the pressures of being a parent because I'm a parent. I have children. But to be a parent, and be present, right? To be a husband and be present, right? But to have hundreds of people relying on you to deliver a message, right? Those people, they believe that you can lead them through Christ, right? And delivering a message. And that's a lot of work. On top of that, you got to be an African American man walking out into society every day just like me, right? And we know what those pressures are like. That's, to me, is resilience, right? So shout out to you, right? We only met in 2020, right? I've been living for 41 years, but the impact that you've had on my life has been remarkable. And I just want to thank you for being present in my life. Absolutely. And the last person on this list, man, is Malcolm X, man. A man who really had to find himself, right? But once he found himself, he was very much so committed, right? He had adversities, different things that he went through. He was judged. But once he figured it out, he remained steadfast, right? One of the things that I say in that letter is to remain steadfast. And he was fearless. He said, by any means necessary, right? And that may mean different things to different people. A lot of people take it out of context, but by any means necessary, he was going to deliver his message. He wanted people to hear it. He stood for something, you know, and part of the reason why he's not here, but he stood on that.
Yeah.
My cousin and I just had a conversation about this, Dominic. We just had a conversation about the people who are afraid to really stand on the things that they say for fear of how they may be judged or what other people have to say, right? And Malcolm X was one of those people who really stood on it. That has transitioned into my life because, I mean, as much as I smile, I'm still a no-nonsense individual and I stand on certain principles, and those are my principles, which makes it really easy for me to set boundaries and things of that nature. And I won't carry on too long, but those have to be probably the four most influential people in my life today, for sure.
Thank you, bro. I wasn't ready, man. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. I want to close with this because the tagline for long stories, short conversations is lifelong lessons for a life well lived, right? And I want to close with this analogy. I remember we were working out one day, right? And on the television screen was the California fires, in particular, the fire in the Palisades, right?
Right.
And that was your high school.
Right.
And I thought about the fact, man, I was sharing with Aurelia, I said, this is Joy's life. Rebuilding over and over again. And I just thought that your reaction to seeing your school burn down was not common, right?
No.
I think many people would have seen it and they would have just cracked. They would have broken. And you were just kind of matter of factly, even almost nonchalant and saying, yo, man, that's the high school I went to.
Yeah.
And I connected that with how many times you've had to rebuild, man. And you've done it in such a fine and regal and admirable fashion.
Thank you.
I said all that to say, and we got a couple of minutes. I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes, man, to give us any advice on how to build and even more importantly, rebuild a life that's worth living.
How to build a life worth living. How
Or
to
rebuild one, bro, because it's been,
how to rebuild a life worth living. There has to be a driving force. There has to be a goal. Right. Everything in this life is an art, and it has a process. And I think that the best way to rebuild a life worth living is one, starting with yourself and knowing exactly what you want for yourself, and following through. Following through, man. Being intentional, believing in something. You have to believe in something. I fear people who don't believe in anything. I actually steer clear of them. But you have to believe in yourself, for sure. You have to be intentional. All these words that I've used throughout our conversation, and you just have to know exactly what it is you want for yourself on that journey of the rebuild. Because as long as you remain intentional, as long as while you are taking those steps towards rebuilding, you understand that as long as you remain intentional on your journey, good things are going to happen. I think the sky's the limit. So just believing in yourself, remaining intentional, moving with purpose, and definitely having a goal, because in the process of having a goal, other things are revealed. I initially just wanted to get to a point where I could rely on myself when I started physical fitness training, when I went ahead and said, yes, I'm gonna go ahead and do it, and started Hub City Fitness, right? But then after that, other things happened. Like I started doing the smoothies, I started doing this. So just being diligent and being intentional, man, and knowing exactly what it is that you want for yourself. What does that outcome look like? Being able to see it, believe it, but more importantly, seeing it through.
Wow.
There's no such thing as putting all your eggs in one basket, man.
Wow.
There's no such thing.
Thanks, bro.
My man.
There you have it. Long story short conversations with Kevin L. Long, lifelong lessons for life well lived, with our special guest, Joyce Supreme Green, my dude. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Hope to see you next week.